One of our beams that's here is actually broken on the bottom, and it's pushed away in, and it's actually jamming that door so the door can't open properly. I always keep the ones that are nearly rotten to the bottom, so it's time to replace that. So I'm going to have to pull up all these beams here if we get the cows to move their head back for a wee while. Now that before I put in the silage, it's going to be easy done. So let's replace that. Alright, so there we have a new plank in place. Another little job fixed. Let's get them fed and go and do something else. It is now the early hours of Monday morning, bank holiday Monday morning. And one thing I don't show you too often is the bit of farming that we do at night time as well. And it's just a typical night. Well, it's actually a wee bit busier than normal. But what we have here in the calving pen is one of our heifers. Now I did put this on Instagram. We have 2 heifers to calve the night and possibly 2 cows. So we had a different heifer in here first, who's back in that pen because this one here decided to calve first. She's had a lovely, healthy Frisian heifer calf, and she calved herself. I just stood here, watched her. Just with a heifer, I'd be a wee bit more weary. Everything to go alright, but everything was fine. They'll do her own thing. I had the dilemma whether I should bed the other calving pen, but I have a half a bale in there that I really don't want to have to start pulling out and using it up and just making a mess of it. So I wanted to just stick to one calving pen if I possibly could at all. I'm up anyway. I don't mind being up for a night cows calving. Doesn't bother me at all. Get a bit of rest tomorrow. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to have to put that calf in because there's no time to spare, as this animal here that's patiently watching to get in has the first water bag long gone. She's already under a heap of pressure in labour and she's looking to get in. So I have to do the swap over now. So just like this. Alright, so we just done that quick swap over, and as you can see, there's a pair of feet sticking right out, and straight down she goes as we're talking, because she cannot hold that calf back. She's mad to get it out of her, and of course she lays down up against the wall. We'll come and check her in a wee while. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to not milk that heifer. I'm actually going to wait till this one calves, then I'm going to milk her in the milking powder, and her milk will feed both them calves. I just don't want to put a heifer in. She's a first timer, I don't want to put her in her own, so I'm going to wait and milk her in the morning. But her milk here should have enough to feed both them calves, and I have colostrum I can defrost and use if I need to. About 2 minutes later, out it popped. Just go over this side here, you get a better look at it. It's a lovely black calf, just like its mother, and that there is another heifer calf. Now if you hear noise outside, that's wind. It's very, very rough at the moment. There's a hell of a wind blowing again. Not dangerous, but it's just, that's what the noise is, just hitting against the roof. I'm going to have a cup of tea and I'll watch something on the telly for the next half an hour or so, and I'm going to put this cow then in when she's calf well licked. I'm going to milk her and I'm going to feed them first 2 heifer calves because it is only 1:45 now in the morning and I don't want to leave them till morning time without any feed. I don't let calves suck heifers. That's one thing I don't do. Because I always tend to find if a calf sucks a heifer, sometimes it happens, the heifer's inclined to hold her milk. So that's why I don't let the calves suck heifers. Cows, no problem at all. It's only the fact that we have 2 here ready to calve. Other than that, I'd leave the calf with the cow here all night and no bother at all to her. She'd suck and everything be grand. But we'll get the next one in, which I think would be the heifer, and we're going to keep working from there. Let's give it its feed now, feed the 2 of them. Okay. Right, so that's both calves now fed. Sorry, it's a bit dark. I haven't many lights on at the minute, just the yard one. But now I have to make the decision of which one do I put in next. And I think I'm going to go with the cow, because she seems to be pressing against the door the whole time to get out. There really isn't much difference between the 2 of them, but she seems to be more keen to get out of the shed, so, and she has a wee bit more experience than the heifer. I'll be watching them on the camera anyway, it won't make a big difference. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick her in first, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I get it right. Alright, so first of all I put in the cow, and then when I had the cow in here and I looked at her, that gate's open. I would have noticed that gate open. I think I leaned against it. She'd been away in the morning. Put the cow in, looked at her. She walked around a bit, and the more I looked at her, the more I said to myself, nah, maybe not. So this heifer here, as you can see, but she has a very, very full elder. It's literally bursting on her. Bones is down, the milk is dropping. I still don't think she's going to calve before milking time in the morning, because it's just gone 3 now in the morning. And we're only about 3.5 hours of milking, so nah, I think we're fine. We'll just put her in here for safety anyway, keep an eye on her. The cow, I think, is going to be alright as well. So I think our night is over with, or our morning, early morning is over with. So our heifer here has had a heifer calf. Good healthy heifer calf. So that's 3 heifer calves in a row. She's dropping a lot of milk at the minute. I hope she doesn't lose it all. So I'm going to go down and get some breakfast. And I'm going to leave that girl with her for a wee while, but I can't leave it too long because I'm looking at the cow here behind me and she is under pressure. First water bag gone. Yeah, it's been a busy one, but a good one. Right, so our heifer's now sorted and we mucked out the entire calving pen because we've calved a very few cows in it now and what bedding was in it. So we cleaned it out, rebedded the back of it, and this is the cow here now. She's in, she's got a nice bag on her. She's actually a 5th lactation or 5th calver. So I'll leave her be. She'll be calved hopefully in the next hour or 2 hours. A pet Moudini, she's going to be calving soon. So we're moving on just up, kind of regulating things. We need to bring cows across from the other shed now over here because we're going to be bringing ones that has calved over to the milking shed. Just a bit like Tetrix. But there is a kind of an organisation to it. And it works. It leaves the job easier for me. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to tip over to the farm. I'm going to go look my cattle, do me a few jobs over there, put back the cover in the silage pit, have a cup of coffee, and then hopefully that one will be calved. Alright, now 3 days has passed. And that clip that you seen of me up at night, well, this is what we had from that 24 hours, you may say. This is the oldest calf here. That's a heifer calf. This here is another heifer calf. That's, I think, that first one you seen. Mad to get drinking. And this one here is also a heifer calf. Similar marked, just a dark with white legs. It's a kind of a marking that I like. This is the bull calf, a big lump of a calf too. Again, only 3 days old now, 2 days old. Again, mad to get drinking. And then this is finally our other heifer calf that we've had here. So I want to just tag these real quick because our milkman will be going tomorrow morning and he just take the sample tags with him. So when we tag our calves, we take a little sample from the ear tissue and that tests for BVD. That BVD was supposed to be a 3-year thing. I think it's running now for the last 11, 12 years. We've never had BVD, but yet we're still testing. So I'm going to get these tags, knees and ears. We're going to get the 5 samples out of their ears. We're going to leave it sitting on a milk tank for the milkman to collect it tomorrow morning. We'll have the results then in probably around 48 hours of that. So these are the newer type electronic tags that most people would be using now. A little chip in there, I think. And if you had one of them wands that you wand over the cow's head, magical wands they call it, it would read the barcode probably for you. I don't have that. I don't really find any use for them just yet. Maybe in the future. But these are the ones we use. So let's get them on the calves here. Without looking. It's as simple as that. If you look here, you can see it. Actually, I'll take the tag back out. But you can see a little hole there. So that pierces through the calf's ear. And the sample will be in that little hole. Right, done. So next thing we get then with our tags is these little sample bottles that come with each tag, and it's got the number of the tag on it as well. And then this little bit here is what's left over from our tag, and it contains the little sample that we took from the ear. So we pop this little lad over it, give it a little squeeze, that's it. Out she pops. There she is, ready to be sent off to a lab to be tested. So there is our 5 samples, and that goes into a wee bag. And then I put my little label that my milkman does have, a little roll is in the dairy. I put a little label that has my milk code on it and barcode. I leave that sitting then at the tank, and our milkman just pick it up when he's collecting the milk. Off it goes, and then I'll get a text message on my phone about 48 hours or so afterwards, hopefully with a negative result. So when you're tagging the calves, people say, is that not sore, a big tag like that? Well, the actual hole it makes is very small, and the kind of idea is to do it as quick as you can. It's like piercing your own ear, just do it quick and get it done. And I can tell you that because, yes, I did have my ear pierced when I was a young Egypt, 13, 14 years of age. Everybody in my year had their ear pierced. It was a thing back then. And I remember my mother saying to me, if you pierce your ear, you're out of the house. My mother meant it. She said that she meant it. I remember one night, a block of ice and a needle, and say no more. I just had to keep it hid for the first 6 months. And I managed to stay in the house too long with it. Different times. So the next thing happens then with these calves is I will go down to my computer and I will register them. I can do it on my phone, but I don't really choose to do that because when I'm down at the computer at night, I had to have a book. I also keep a hard copy. I don't know why. It's just a bit of old school that hasn't left me yet. Look, at the end of the day, if we do get a cyber attack or the world's coming to an end, at least I'll still know what calves are to what cow. And we'd probably still be testing them for BVD. Now this box here contains something that might be very, very handy for our job. I know Nicole will appreciate it because she's sick of walking in and out of the dairy to warm milk for calves every single evening. Another problem that we do have sometimes is when our milk lorry does go and our tank does a cycle of a wash, sometimes we don't have enough hot water to heat all the milk for calves, especially when you have a lot of calves at one time and you're feeding them kind of individual. Sometimes the water just does not be warm enough for feeding all the calves, and it has been an issue this last few years. We always make it work. Another thing is when the power went off, it's left us with no hot water at all. We have a different little heater here, and one that I'm curious about. I don't know how it'll turn out, but I'm curious about it because it's gas and gas only, but there's no electric supply to this whatsoever. I've been told it's very easy to fit. I've seen a few videos on it. So I'm interested in trying it out. This was sent out to us by Country Farm Supplies at a discount, and hence the reason this video is sponsored by Country Farm Supplies, and all the appropriate links and things will be in the description if you want to go and check one out for yourself. Thanks very much for them for doing that. The next thing we need to do now is just get it up on the wall. It shouldn't be that difficult because we have a mains water pipe coming there that's feeding a drinker. So it's only a matter of taking a mains down here. I might actually take two, one for cold water as well. So let's get it on the wall first. I'm thinking around about here. Might be the best place because it's beside the door. There's a good fall on the ground there, so any water that gets spilt runs out fairly quickly. Yeah, I think somewhere in around this location. Now I have opened the box, but I haven't took it out yet. Manual. Read it after. I suppose it's kind of like an electric shower. Looks kind of like an electric shower, pump shower. So first of all, sorry if there's a different level in volume. I've took the mic off because it's kind of in the way, and sometimes that increases the volume. But it came with these little lads here. So I'm going to drill 2 holes and fit these onto the wall. Alright, so stick this boy on. So then the next thing I need to do is, by high precision, make sure that it's straight. Right, so there comes a gas hose with it. So I put some tape on the thread, and we're just going to thread that up. And just make sure it's nice and snug, but just going by what it said, don't over tighten. We have a mains water supply ahead of us there on the very top. You only need 1 feed in, but I want to put 2 and just have an extra tap here for cold water. You never know, even your power washing out of the house here, I don't have to run a reel or anything in, so having just a tap here will be very handy. So I'm going to stick you on a time lapse because it's going to take me a while. I don't want to video every minute of it, or it'll be here for a couple of hours. So time lapse it is, and we get these taps hooked up. So this is the outlet. I'm going to stick a quick connector on there. I've got one of these little hoses, down hoses, which I'm going to leave as much pipe as I can, not too much, but enough. And just connect this up and put a GB clip on it. One final job to do is to put batteries in this. So this guy goes here. Alright? Yep. And this one goes the opposite way. And that is just for the igniting of the gas. Now dare I say it, everything's hooked up and everything seems to be alright. There's no leaks so far. Had a wee leak on this buck here, which I can change out. Seems to be alright now. I tightened it up a bit, but that's an old quick attach, so I'll pick one of them up for it. But otherwise, there's not going to be any pressure on that anyway, because every time we're not using this, we're going to turn the water off. The gas is now hooked up too. So just a real breakdown, we have 2 taps. One is just purely for cold water. You don't have to put that in yourself. It's just cold water for me is going to be handy. I left it here, put 2 screws in and just a nozzle in the end. The girls will love that. But it'll just make it handy when you're washing out a shed. It's great to have a tap in every shed. So they might be a bit wonky. And that's not my fault, because the 2 brass fittings are completely different. This one's a lot deeper than this one, and you can see. So I'm going to use that as an excuse anyway. But we brought up the 2 pipes, put a T-joiner here, an 80 degree there, and then straight up and connect it with a T-joiner on the top onto the mains. Now, I didn't fix anything to the wall, because I want to come in here and cover this whole thing with insulation. Just insulate everything. The other hose is hooked up here, the outlet coming along here. And I got an old stabilizer or an old bicycle. Put that on the wall so that can hang like that. I have a nozzle then just for the hot water pouring into the bucket, just a wee bit more control. And that's really it. That's it all hooked up. Then we have our gas here, which is the red cylinder, is what this takes. Now, I've seen pictures of this before, and lads were all using the bigger cylinder. And believe it or not, I struggled to find the bigger cylinder. I looked in a heap of local places and I couldn't get it. And this is the only thing, and I had to travel 40 minutes to get it. And it's the only one I could get. So we'll make do with that one for now. Long term, I don't want to leave it there. What I might do is build a bracket, which will be quite easy here on the wall. Lift the cylinder up and build it that'll hold the bigger cylinder, and just have a kind of a frame around it that protects it so nothing can hit against it, and some sort of a ratchet strap belt around the front of it, just like a MIG welder gas cylinder on the back of a MIG welder. Otherwise than that, we're ready to rock, test it out and hope for the best. So first thing to do is turn on our water, turn on our gas. I take it in, we just run the water through it. Oh yeah, you see the flame? So it comes on automatically when you run the tap. Alright, now we have her all hooked up. I had to make a few changes because it just wasn't working the way it should. Not this, the way I had it plumbed up. So I done away with the quick connect on the hot outlet. Instead I used this heavier pipe that I got before for doing the drinkers up in the other house. I got a roll of it. And it's much better, it can handle hot water. And it doesn't kink, it doesn't go all flopsy or whatever when the water's hot. And it doesn't leak as quick or bust, because the last thing you want is water at 65 degrees and a pipe busting on you. So I don't know where the quick connect, straight up into the nozzle, GB clip and everything. Much, much safer. Now, I did notice a couple of things about it. One good thing we have here, we've great water pressure. I don't know how many bar it is, I've never tested it, but there is a good pressure of water. So on this here you have 2 knobs, that's all you have. And one is to control, this one here is to control the amount of water that's coming in. So maximum amount of water being fed to minimum. So this is just like another tap inside to control the amount of water that's passing through. This one here is your temperature of your water. So I have it turned up to max at the minute because I want to get the full temperature out of it. And then the idea is, depending on the pressure of your water, the more you increase the water being fed in, and now you notice I have it on minimum, but the more you increase it, the faster the water will come out of here, okay? But it won't be as hot because you're putting more water through it and it's not getting long enough to heat it. So that is kind of the way the trick of the thing works. Problem I have is when I turn mine down to minimum, because we have still got a lot of pressure coming in, it wasn't heating the water. It was only leaving it a bit lukewarm. It wasn't heating it very warm at all. So I have the tap now turned on half. And I've been messing around with it for a wee while till I found a sweet spot, and I think I have it now. So I'm going to fill this into a bucket of water, and I have a little digital thermometer here that I'm going to check to see what the temperature is at, because I'd like it to be around about 65 degrees. Bear in mind, it all depends what you're using it for. When we swap over to milk replacer, then I can afford to probably turn the tap on fully, because I won't want the water as hot. I don't need to add any cold water to it. I can just feed it directly from here. For now, when I'm feeding the young calves or unsweet milk, I do put a steel bucket into a plastic bucket, put hot water around it. That's just the way I heat my milk, so I want it as hot as I can get it, because the hotter it is, the quicker it's going to heat that milk. I hope you kind of follow me. So I want to get it as hot as I possibly can. So when it's hot, you're obviously going to have a slower feed, but I'm fine with the speed that's coming out of it. It matches more or less what's coming out of the one in the dairy as well. So we're going to put some hot water in a bucket here and see how hot we can actually get it. 51, 55, 57. Can you see that? 60 degrees. They say 65 degrees on the brochure. 60 is where I'd be comfortable with, because I wouldn't like to turn that tap down any further. You get a nice spray out there at the same time, but if you went any lower, I'd be worried that you might overheat this. Maybe not, but to me, it seemed if I went any lower, the flame would cut out. As I say, when you're feeding calves with milk replacer, you'd only be adding cold water to it, so you might as well eliminate the add of cold water. Just set it to the temperature that you want for feeding your milk replacer, and you'll find you'll have a good bit of pressure. It seems that it's going to be grand, so I'll set it at 30 and let's see what it's like. There is bang on 30. Right, it's 31. As you can see, there's a great fill at that. And that's a good spray that's on that there. You couldn't ask for much better. But anyway, that's it. It's a job done. I'll not know much more about it until I use it. And that's the truth. I'm going to have to use it for a few weeks. I'll be fit to tell you then exactly what I think of it. And I will. Mark my words on that. So that's that done. I'm on the phone cam here, so hope you can hear me and it's alright. I have a cow here I'm going to put in the calving pen. Now, the wee accident here this morning, which I'm not proud of. I'm still angry about it. It's my own fault completely, but it was involved in putting the slurry tanker on the back of the tractor and a telescopic hitch and not watching what I was doing, and I've damaged a part of it, which I've just, after leaving it away this morning, to see can I get it fixed. I'll get a phone call hopefully this evening that it can be fixed. If not, it'll have to be replaced, and it's expensive. We had a calf born here last night that was very different than normal, put it that way, and it does have a few issues, so we'll talk about that another time. Otherwise, Nicole's after checking out her water heater last night, and she's as proud as punch with it, so we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching. See you next one.